Questions 11 through 20 of the 1999 Grade 7 Gauss Math Contest is what I will discuss in this video. The floor of a rectangular room is covered with square tiles. The room is 10 tiles long and 5 tiles wide. The number of tiles that touch the walls of the room is. So let's draw out a little diagram of these tiles in this rectangular room. So here's the diagram. It's a rectangle, and hopefully this is drawn well enough to scale to give you an idea of what's going on. So you've got 10 tiles along the top, 5 tiles along the side, and they're asking how many of these tiles are touching the walls. So obviously these ones here all touch the walls, and same thing with the bottom, and then of course the ones on the side all touch the walls, so these ones here. And then just add them all up. So on the top we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the bottom 10 of course, and then on the sides you've got 3 on this side and 3 on this side. So the total is 10, 10, 3, 3, which is 26 of those tiles touch the walls. So the answer is A. 5 students named Fred, Gail, Henry, Iggy, and Joan are seated around a circular table in that order. To decide who goes first in a game, they play countdown. Henry starts by saying 34, Iggy saying 33, and so on. They continue to count down in their circular order. Who eventually will say 1? All right, let's draw this out. All right, so here are those 5 students, and I just wrote their first letter of their name: Fred, Gail, Henry, Iggy, and Joan. So who starts off? It's Henry. Henry says 34. And then I believe Iggy says 33, and then so on. Joan will say 32, Fred will say 31, and then Gail is her name. She says 30, and so on. So when it gets to H, Henry will say 29. And I'm not going to write all of the numbers, not necessary, but what we can notice is that every time we get to H, or Henry rather, he's counting down by 5. So it's going to be 24, 19, 14, 9, and then finally 4. And then once he gets to 4, we can do that pretty quickly: 3, 2, and 1. So 1 will be said by Fred. So the answer to number 12 is A. In the diagram, the percentage of small squares that are shaded is. Okay, since that's the only information they've given me, I'm assuming that all the squares are equal in value. And how many are there? There's 5 over here and 5 over here, so there's 25 total squares. And the number of squares that are shaded: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can multiply top and bottom by 4, and that'll give you 36 over 100. And this is, of course, 36%. So the answer is C. Which of the following numbers is an odd integer, contains the digit 5, is divisible by 3, and lies between 12 squared and 13 squared? All right, a bunch of conditions here. So first of all, let's see which is an odd integer. This is odd, odd, this is not, so we can get rid of that one. This is odd, this is odd. All right, so we got rid of one answer. Contains the digit 5. This one does, this does not. This one does, that one does. Okay, got rid of 2 answer choices. Is divisible by 3. Is 105 divisible by 3? And it's equal to 35, so yes. Is 165 divisible by 3? And it is equal to 55, so yes. Is 175 divisible by 3? And that is equal to 58.3 approximately. So no. All right, we got rid of one more. So the race is between A and D. And our last condition is between 12 squared and 169 squared. So 12 squared and 169 squared. So, or sorry, 13 squared. I'm getting ahead of myself. 12 squared is 144 and 13 squared is 169. So the number has to be in between those two. So of the choices that remain, A and D, which of those is between 144 and 169? Well, of course, the answer is D, this one right here. A box contains 36 pink, 18 blue, 9 green, 6 red, and 3 purple cubes that are identical in size. If a cube is selected at random, what is the probability that it is green? All right, so these are the cubes, and we want to select one that's green. So there's 9 green, so the probability is going to be 9 over the total number of cubes. And that's how you'd figure this out. So 9 over 36 plus 18 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3. And this looks like 9 over 72. And that in lowest terms would be 1 over 8. So I think that's it. That's all they're asking for. So 15 would be B. The graph shown at the right indicates the time taken by 5 people to travel various distances. On average, which person travels the fastest? Okay, well, speed, which is what we're going to be comparing, is equal to distance divided by time. So we can very quickly figure out the speed of these 5 people. And A, B, C, D, indicating the first letter of their names: Allison, Bina, Curtis, Daniel, and Emily. So for Allison, her distance looks like 1, and her time looks like 20. So this is 0.05 kilometers per minute. All right. Moving ahead, we got Bina, which is distance is 1 and her time is 50. So this looks like 0.02. For Curtis, it's 3 over 30, so that is 0.1, like that. And Daniel looks like 5 over 50, so that is also 0.1. And finally, Emily is 5 for the distance, kilometers, and 20 for the time. So hers is 0.25. So they're asking which of these is the fastest. So the fastest is, of course, the largest speed. So which of these has the largest speed? And it would be this one right here. So Emily is the one traveling the fastest. So 16 is E. In a Fibonacci sequence of numbers, each term beginning with the third is the sum of the previous 2 terms. The first number in such a sequence is a 2, and the third is a 9. What is the 8th term in the sequence? All right, so we got first term, second term, third term, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. All right, so the third term is the sum of the previous 2 terms. So 2 plus this has to equal 9. So this must be a 7. And then you just keep going like that. This one is going to be 7 plus 9, which is 16. This term is going to be 9 plus 16, which is 25. This term is 16 plus 25, which is 41. This term is 25 plus 41, which is 66. And finally, that term is 41 plus 66, which is 107. And this is the 8th term. So the answer to this question is C. The results of a survey of hair color of 600 people are shown in the circle graph. How many people have blonde hair? All right, so the total percentage, of course, will be 100. And to get blonde, we have to subtract the other percentages like that. And that would be 30%. Now there's 600, and they've asked us not percentage, but how many. So 30% of 600. So that would be 0.3 times 600, and that would be 180. So for 18, the answer is C. What is the area in meters squared of the shaded part of the rectangle? Okay, let's draw this out a little bit bigger. And there's several ways of approaching this question. I'll try to do it the way that's simple. They've given you these two lines, and that basically means that those two are the same length. And the total is 14. So that means that each of these is 7. All right? And then this side they've given you is 4. So if you were to draw a perpendicular from this side to that side, that would also be 4. And therefore, these triangles right here, we can figure out the area of. And each of those would be 1/2 base times height. And the base of each of those is 7. And the height is 4. So that looks like 7 times 4 is 28. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So the area of this is 14, and so is the area of that. Now they want you to figure out the area of the shaded region. So the shaded region is this big triangle, or big rectangle, sorry, minus those two triangles that I just figured out the area of. So each of those was 14, so minus 14, like that. So what's the area of the big rectangle? It would be length times width, which is 14 times 4, minus 28. So 14 times 4 is 56, minus 28, and therefore that gives you an answer of 28. So the answer here is B for number 19. The first 9 positive odd integers are placed in the magic square so that the sum of the numbers in each row, column, and diagonal are equal. Find the value of A and E. All right, so what are the first 9 positive odd integers? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, and 17, right? Those are the first 9 odd integers. And you're going to place them into this box one at a time to make all the rows, columns, and diagonals have the same sum. Okay, well, a lot of trial and error here, but it shouldn't be too bad. The first thing I'm going to do is add up all these numbers. And if I do that, I'm going to get 81. And 3 numbers, whatever order they're in, that order or a diagonal, have to add up to 1/3 of this, because the total is 81. So 81 divided by 3, which is 27, is most likely going to be the sum of a row or a column or a diagonal. All right? So I'm going to draw out this square, and let's see what we get. So let's fill in what they've already given us: 1, 5, 13, and 3. So the only column so far that we have a lot of help in is this one. 13 plus 3 plus something is going to be 27. So that something has to be 11. All right? So let's circle the numbers that we've already chosen so we know what's left. All right. Now let's look at this one. 1 plus 11 plus something has to equal 27. So that's got to be 15. Okay, moving right along. Now let's look at this one here, this column. 15 plus 5 plus some number is 27, so that means that's 7. And where do you want to go next? We can just do this one. 7 plus 3 plus some number is 27, so that must be 17. And therefore this in the middle is 9. So what are they asking for? A plus E. A is here, E is here. So A is 15 and E is 17. So A plus E is 15 plus 17, which is 32. So the answer is A.